Hi, everybody. Welcome to Human Biology. I'm Professor Gustin, and we are in week 13. Week 13 is notable because it's the last week that we get new material. So this week we're going to be working on anatomy of the urinary, endocrine, and reproductive systems. And you found the video. There's a lecture study guide just like every other week. So do your lecture study guide. Here's some videos that you can use to fill in that lecture study guide. I recommend using the videos because there's a lot in this there's a lot in these chapters that's not in the study guide. In fact, my goal for this week, I mean, you could imagine, how could you possibly learn about the urinary, endocrine, and reproductive systems all in 1 week? I primarily focused on anatomy. One of my goals for the week is to get you to be able to do these fetal pig dissections, virtual labs 1 and 2. And in those labs, there's some anatomy that we haven't done yet. And we just run out of time in this class. There's only so many things you can do in a 1 semester class. But I know a lot of you are taking this course for a prerequisite for A&P. So I like to get a lot of the anatomy at least rolling around in your brain a little bit. So what I do is, instead of completely covering urinary, endocrine, and reproductive, I mostly do the anatomy of those systems. You will notice that there's a lot of diagrams, and those diagrams will show up on your next exam. So look at the diagrams that are in your textbook, in your ebook, and some of those actual diagrams anatomical diagrams will show up on your last exam. So in addition to anatomy, there's a little bit more about these systems just to give you a little background on them, but it's mostly anatomy. So once you get through that and you've practiced your anatomy using the pictures, go to the lecture assignment and complete that, just like we've done every week. Then you'll find the lab handout directs you to doing 2 virtual labs where they had the fetal pig dissection. And I think they're pretty good. They're not very long, so this lab this week doesn't take terribly long, but they do give you kind of a good perspective of what it looks like to do a dissection like that. And then the last thing on there is there's a lab quiz that asks you some other questions that are on the handout. So that's your lab grade for the week. It's not a huge amount of lab, it's pretty light, but this is kind of a week to make sure you know this stuff really well and get caught up, because you'll notice, here we are, week 13. I'm looking down at my syllabus, that's what I'm staring at. Here it is. So on your syllabus in week 14, it's Thanksgiving week. Now the college is open Monday, Tuesday, but it's closed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So just like every week, your week 13 materials will be due on Tuesday of week 14. So you can be working on this now, you can be working on it up through that time. And what I will do for week 14 is, at the beginning of week 14, I will open the material for week 15. If you look at your syllabus, you will see all we have on week 15 is exam number 4. There's no lab, there's no lecture material. So just like I said when we started this video, the information you get this week in week 13 is the last of the new material you get for the course. So if you decide you want to take exam number 4 in week 14, you can do that, or you can take it in week 15, and it's due December 9th, the end of week 15. Notice week 16. Week 16 is when you take your final exam. And again, I will post that the Friday before week 16, like I've been posting all semester. But the big thing to notice is your final exam is due at 12 noon on Thursday, December 11th. I don't want you to forget this, because if you hand in your final exam late, if you do your exam late, you email me on Friday and said, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was due on Thursday. Or you email me at 1 p.m. on Thursday, December 11th to say, oh, I didn't realize it was at noon. It was due at noon. I'm going to take off 10%. Just like that, I'm going to take 10% off. And if you're more than a day late, I'm going to take off 20%, and on and on. So I want you to notice this right now. Your final exam in week 16. Right now we're in week 13. but your final exam in week 16 is due at 12 noon on a Thursday.